Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest of the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today is a very special episode. We have Kasey Ma on the line, and she's the founder and CEO over at Untamed Agency. First off, Kasey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Adam.
All right, so I've been waiting to get you on the show for a long time now. I've been to many Untamed Agency events, and you guys always put on an amazing show. I know one of the events we're going to talk about today is we'll talk about the upcoming AAPI Holiday Charity Gala. So we'll get into that and more. But before we do, Kasey, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all, with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So Kasey, at Mission Matters, our aim and our goal is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's what we do. Kasey, what mission matters to you?
The mission that matters to me the most is creating space for the API community in brands, influencers, creators, celebrities, all under one roof, including philanthropy. And that is the mission that I have for Untamed Agency.
Amazing. Love bringing mission-based entrepreneurs and individuals on the line to share, why they do what they do, how they're doing it, and really what we can all learn from that so that we all grow together. So great having you on. Let's go back in time a bit now. Before Untamed Agency or even going into it, were you always in marketing, the event space and branding and helping people, or like where did all that start for you?
That's such a great question, Adam. Where did it all start for me? Well, it actually was such an interesting journey because I went to NYU for economics and business at Stern and thought I was going to do the whole finance route, but I decided to choose fashion at the end of the day. My father was furious. He was like, why did you just drop your income level by at least 60K starting? But I always had this creative knack to me that I really wanted to fulfill. I was a singer. I was also a pianist as well. So I kind of felt that through fashion as well. So I worked at Lord & Taylor and Macy's, but I would focus on like the finance departments and financial planning. And then eventually I worked my way to buying and pricing management and consulting and software sales, believe it or not. But it was during this corporate journey that I had a knack for building websites and graphic design and writing. So that's when I launched my blog, thestyleright.com, which is a fashion blog about my outfit and a young woman in her 20s, no longer, but we don't need to talk about that. A young woman in her 20s in New York City and how we navigated through Manhattan and going through balancing your career, your family, and growing up in an Asian household by also, satisfying our parents' demands, but also trying to do what we love to do at the same time. Express my creativity through my fashion blog. And then I launched on Instagram. Then I quickly grew to over 100K followers within about 1 to 2 years at my time at Macy's. And then eventually, when I went to consulting, I was very, very overworked. I was working like 75 to 100 hours a week on this company, while also building my almost side business for my fashion blog and my
it was getting more serious at that point, huh? It probably started, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it probably started a little hobby. It was fun. Then you're like, as you're getting in this time period, if I'm tracking correct, then it's like, oh, wait a minute, there might be like a business here or something else. Am I off on that? I just kind of.
You are completely correct. I mean, in the beginning when I started, influencer wasn't even a term. So I was just doing this for fun. And then eventually this like streetwear brand offered me $50 in payment for a hat. And I was like, what are you talking about?
What was that like, the first one? I feel like everybody remembers their first time for, getting paid for a piece of content. It's crazy.
Yeah, I thought it was spam, to be honest. But I was like, hey, low risk. I get a free hat. Let me take a picture in the Upper East Side where I was living at the time. And then I posted about it and they loved it. And then eventually I just kept getting paid and offers because I was always documenting about New York Fashion Week. And then brands just started reaching out to me and paying me to wear their clothes and to talk about it, but also relating it to actually my API stories at the time and growing up in a very strict household. So it was really cool. I had a very different spin than the normal fashion blogger. I wouldn't just talk about clothes. I would talk about my lifestyle as well.
Yeah. I want to stay in those earlier days a little bit longer, and I'll tell you why.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people that have watched this that maybe they're not coming up from that standpoint. Like they know what an influencer is, they see it, they understand it, and they may be even going that route for a business, like a serious profession,
Yeah.
even though they're just getting started. How did you, maybe in the early days or even now, really, how did you decide who you were going to work with? Like who it made sense to build a relationship with?
I would say a lot of the fashion brands that I already was working with at
Mhm.
Macy's and Lord& Taylor were definitely ones that I wanted to focus on because I
Yeah.
knew the business aspect of it. I really understood the pricing, how
Mm,
many units we were like buying every single season. So I was able to kind of provide this holistic view on why I would take care of their brand so well, given my expertise.
mm. And
So I
that's the
started,
economics background, right? You're doing actual research. Like, there's research on that.
yes,
And doing, yeah.
exactly. I really treated every brand with a lot of respect and care, and I started
Mm,
treating it like a business, making
mhm.
sure that each brand was represented appropriately across the fields of marketing,
Yeah.
the way they, word their pricing. Is it elevated? You never want to say like this is on the discount. You're just saying this is a great deal. It's
Mm,
affordable, but also very expensive looking, words like that.
mhm.
And then just making sure that I kept upgrading my equipment, like camera wise and video wise,
Mm.
to make sure that I properly, represent each brand.
Yeah, I love this story, and the reason why is well. Let me before I go there. I want to take the other side of the coin now. You being a business owner, you having your own agency.
Mhm.
How much from the brand in retrospect? Because I don't know if you knew this at the time, and if you did, great, let me know. But in retrospect, for me, I can say in my own journey, how much brands appreciated it. Like what a breath of fresh air it was to work with a content creator that was professional and that was delivering and that they knew cared about their brand. Speak from the brand side for a moment, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people wanted to work with me, namely brands, because
Mhm.
I treated every single campaign so seriously.
Yeah.
And I think it was really respectful of me to, jump on the call with them, understand
Mhm.
what their marketing needs are and what their goal was for the campaign
Mm.
before implementing anything, before shooting anything. So I was always a proponent of giving them the concept ahead of time. If
Mhm.
I'm, saying anything, make sure I write a script, create a draft, and I
Yeah.
would be doing this before these protocols were put into place. A
Yeah.
lot of times creators just like take product, at least back in the day, and they would
Yeah.
just shoot it like if they had the time. And it kind of gives influencers such a bad rapport.
Mm.
But for me, I really treated it like a business partner rather
Mhm.
than something to wear because I thought it looked cool in my photos or my
Mm.
videos. I really treated it seriously as a business. And that's
Mm.
something I always had feedback with working with me was
Mhm.
it's just I always took everything so seriously and it shows on my platforms now. Everything
Yeah.
is so professional and
Mhm.
thought of and detailed.
Yeah, and I feel like and as the brands and as even the language, right? Like that word influencer, like marketing and the way that it's done now, that wasn't part of our vernacular. And what we talk about normally now, there's normally going to depend on the market, especially fashion. There's going to be a budget earmarked for that and different levels of influencers, whether they're micro influencers, whether they're other influencers,
Mhm.
whatever it is. I just did a gig with PacSun where I went and I interviewed a bunch of their at one of their events. I did this interview series for them, and I was interviewing basically all their influencers that were representing their brand, and we did a whole series around it.
Oh.
And what I thought was so interesting, and that obviously packs on fashion, the clothing brand, for everybody that's watching that doesn't know exactly who that is,
Mhm.
but they're huge. And what I found so interesting about it is that how that space has evolved and how professional it's become. You were doing it from the beginning, maybe intuitively based off of your background, your
Mhm.
education, your understanding of business. But now I saw it and I'm like, wow, that infrastructure is built. And I think what's interesting there, and it's a good transition for us. Let's get into Untamed Agency and how that relates and really what your agency is doing.
Yeah, so Untamed Agency was born about 2.5 years ago. We're a little baby company, but very, very powerful.
Congrats, 2.5 years. That's a big deal. Every year as an entrepreneur. Come on.
Seriously? Oh my
Chirag and
gosh.
I are going on 10 years. I can't even believe it. And I'm
Wow.
like,
Oh
wow,
my
yeah.
goodness.
And for everybody that's the new listeners or viewers, that's the other co-founder of Mission Matters, Chirag Cigar. So when I say Chirag, but yeah, and I met him. I swiped right on LinkedIn. Go figure. Okay.
I knew it. I knew there was some romance involved in there. Oh my gosh, I love it. Wow,
Back
10
to
years.
Untamed Agency. I digress. 2.5 years. Congratulations. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Continue, please.
Yes. So from 10 years of content creation, over nearly a decade on every single platform, being able to monetize on everything, I was actually placed on a reality TV show. Did you know that? On Amazon.
I saw. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
It's
okay.
amazing.
Yeah. So it's called The One That Got Away.
Mhm.
And it was through all my platforming, including live streaming as well, that I was
Yeah.
discovered to star on an Amazon Prime dating show. And it was all American. And it was
Mhm.
so great to take up space
Yeah.
as an Asian American woman in a very positive light that showed
Mhm.
me standing up for myself and very confident on the screen. Whereas, typically an Asian American woman would be shown as like subtle or
Yeah.
meek or submissive.
Mhm.
But I was definitely not that on the show at all. I stood up for myself. I had attitude. I had sass. It like the Jersey in me definitely came
Mhm.
out. And I got so many good DMs
Mhm.
from people who watched the show that said I was such a good representation, and
Mm.
they were so thankful to have someone like me on the screen. So
Yeah.
then I moved to LA because all like the red carpets were happening, all the press
Mm.
was
Oh,
there.
was that after the show or before? I didn't. After the show, you moved to LA. I'm just trying
Yes,
to keep the
after
timeline.
the show's filming, I moved to
Yeah.
LA. So
Amazing. Go ahead, please.
it hadn't aired yet, right? So I
Yeah.
came here and I wanted to move from New York because I kind of exhausted all of my resources in New York City
Mhm.
as well. So the only way to grow is sometimes to just grow your network. So
Yeah.
that's what I did in LA. And from then, my vision on what my purpose was in life just completely
Mhm.
transformed. And
Wow.
that's how Untamed Agency was born because for me, it was such a struggle to grow in an industry where we don't always have room to grow. One in
Mm.
every 10 campaigns, I'm sorry, one in every 10 people who are booked in campaigns maybe are Asian, right?
Mm.
So we even fall behind in the other minorities, Black people, Hispanics as
Mhm.
well. Asians forget it. We're even in less entertainment space than
Yeah.
Blacks and Hispanics as well. So I started API to build that support system and
Mhm.
community that I just never had growing up. I've always had to figure out everything on my own, and it was such a lonely journey. And
Mm.
I was at a point in my career where I was light years ahead of all of my other colleagues who had just started during COVID. And I already
Mm.
had like 5, 6 years on them. And they were coming to me asking me for advice. Then I started offering coaching programs and consulting,
Mhm.
and it was just about that time to give back to
Yeah.
my friends. And then it just blossomed from word of mouth referral. And now I have this beautiful agency of macro creators who are so hardworking, diligent,
Mm.
loving. They have such a good heart. And we now, pair that with philanthropy with our red carpet galas. And
Mhm.
we also invite, AAPI founders as well. So we really create this whole ecosphere from just starting from a talent management agency
Mm.
to now creating almost like a cultural movement
Yeah.
in innovation, impact, and influence.
What do you think? What do you think makes your? And I don't want to put you on. Well, actually, I should delineate. Is you
Mhm.
focus on more than the AAPI community, but I know that's a niche that I know you for. Am I off on that? You focus on a broader spectrum, but this is one of your niches. First, maybe clarify there for me, just so I make sure I have it.
Yeah, so Untamed Agency, we outwardly represent about 30 to 35 macro influencers in
Mhm.
the API community. So they are API
Mm.
focused, above
Okay.
100,000 followers to millions of followers. However, we do also have an extended influencer network that
Mm.
varies even larger, that has like 40 million plus in following total. And we cover all different types of ethnicities as well. So if we have a campaign come in or a business deal come in and it doesn't, maybe fit our API criteria for our influencers, we'll always branch off to friends of the agency and allies as well. And they also show up to our events too. So our network is very, very vast beyond the API community, but everyone who is even remotely associated with us is an ally or API in some way.
For sure. Yeah, and I get that. And I'm curious, and I love the fact, obviously, this was a very personal decision, and it's part of your background, of course. So that's why, partially based on what I've learned about you so far, why you went in that direction. But let's take the personal side out of it for just a moment. I'm a big fan of businesses and agencies and people that pick niches, that focus on something and get good and specialized so that they can really take care of their clients, in this case, the influencers, and really serve their needs. I feel like sometimes people put themselves a little bit too broad and try to be everything to everybody. And then they're kind of like, it's not with the bad intentions. It's just hard to be everything for everybody. Can you talk a little bit more just about that decision? Because there had to be a moment in time, and this part I'm pretty confident on, where you had to make a decision I want to go further into this niche. This is my either audience or where my heart's at. Can you talk about that decision?
For sure. When I was starting, I knew I always wanted to be an entrepreneur of some sort. Believe it or not, I was actually developing a gaming tech accessories company before.
Oh, I believe it. You probably were developing 50 things before we get on. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I believe it. I do believe it. You got something you're developing right now you haven't told me about. Go ahead.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, I was developing a gaming tech accessories company, but I didn't realize how much finances you needed in order to start a tech company. And I just couldn't put that much money into a freaking sample. I couldn't bear it. So I was like, what is low cost, low barriers to entry that would just kind of fulfill that entrepreneurial spirit in me? And I was like, why don't I use my network and my agency and the need that people are going to me already for, which was advice in social media. How do you make money on each platform? How do you grow? How do you make content? How do you stand out with brands? And how do you negotiate properly so you get paid what you deserve? I had all of these skills, and with people just constantly talking to me, I was like, okay, let's launch maybe some sort of agency. Let's just start with a small referral system, which I'm sure a lot of companies and agencies have thought of it. That's where it started, right? And eventually I was like, maybe I should make a company out of this, an agency. So then I researched the top performing agencies, the influencer agencies, and what was making them stand out and what was making them so successful. And I realized on the top performing agency is that they would focus on some sort of niche or some sort of industry or some sort of look and branding for the agency. So for ours, it's very clean cut, professional, proper, and they produce really good content that's extremely phenomenal. Very, very talented actors, all throughout the industry, in addition to influencer. So then I was like, how am I going to win? How am I going to stand out amongst every other agency who has more manpower than me, who has had 10 years on me? What is going to be different? Because you always got to find that differentiating factor in order to be successful. At least that's what I believe in. So then I started to think, okay, let's focus on minorities. Does that even exist in the industry? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's focus on minorities. And then I kind of just sat and thought about it for a few months and was like, wait a minute, why don't I just help the people like me myself achieve? And I thought about it and I was like, this is not the path to maybe lucrative money right away. Because let's get real again, 9 out of 10 people, they're Americans, they're white, those are the ones that get booked. But I want to be on the front lines fighting for representation on the screen, and then also building community. I realized that the agencies that are successful also have some sort of community. So that's when I started, hosting dinners, and then they kind of turned into these really giant red carpet galas with brand activations. So that's kind of how I decided to focus on those two niches, the API industry and building community within that.
And there's so many lessons in what you said. I mean, in terms of in your logic and what you went through, I think that for anybody that's out there wants to start an agency or they're thinking about doing anything in marketing or anything else like that, so much that you could unpack in what Kasey just said and picking a niche and why and how to stand out. And I feel like more people would have success if they just took a little bit more time like you did to kind of like narrow down your idea and then ultimately to serve the people. Your target market was people you probably knew, right? Like the original influencers, the original people. These are people that were already asking you for something. When I think about like some of the original things that Chirag and I did, it was like our first books. They're people we knew in Beverly Hills. They wanted to be published. We helped them. Our first shows, there were people that wanted to launch shows that we helped them. Even our first guests, they were people we knew. First person I ever interviewed was Chirag. I was like, well, if we're launching this podcast, Chirag, I don't know how to do an interview, and I hope you know how to answer questions. Let's do it. And you're the first guest. He's like, all right, and that's how I got roped into this. I wasn't trying to be on your list. So there's a lot into this listening to the people around you. So I love that story so much in what you said.
Yeah. Yeah. You just got to listen to the need, right? I mean, that's what makes a successful company is like, there is a need that you're fulfilling and I'm just here to serve that. And you're good at it. You're skilled. You have an expertise in it. And whatever you don't know, you can just learn along the way by trial and error and you'll get it.
So you mentioned, galas, events, and I know you guys do it big. Let's spend some of the time we have left talking about the AAPI Holiday Charity Gala that's coming up. So what can you tell me?
Yes. So Untamed Agency is hosting our second annual charity gala, and we have over 400 plus guests in attendance. And these are AAPI founders, creators, entrepreneurs, community leaders, reality TV stars, and actors in Hollywood, all under one roof, creating one ecosphere to kind of feed into each other and help support each other. So influence with the influencers, obviously, and our media companies such as Getty Images, 88 Tumble, and other media companies. Then we have the impact where we are raising funds for TEACH AAPI, which is for youth and educating them about their culture and heritage through K through 12 curricula, activity drops and promoting leadership within the next generation. And then we also have innovation. So we have 19 plus brand activations. So it's an amusement park for brands, creators, and philanthropy all under one roof. It's at the W Hollywood rooftop. It's going to be insane. We have 3 auctions going on with over $500,000 in prizes.
Wow.
I know. Everyone goes home with a $350 gift bag. So every single touch point in this gala reminds you of the API community and how great it is to be celebrating under one rooftop and together. When everyone is in the same space, it's such a powerful impact that lasts further than one night. So that is the main purpose of the gala.
For those that have never been to a Untamed Agency event, I'm just telling you, you're in for a treat. It'll be a lot of fun. There's a lot going on, obviously. And how about the prizes, the gift bags, all the other things? Like you're not doing it small. That's for sure. It's exciting. No. And what do you think? And I'm curious on the event side of things. What do you think has made these like so many people rally around these? Because we're in LA and it's hard. I mean, people don't want to come out. They come out. All these other things. Like, how do you get this audience to show?
Oh my gosh. It's a lot of marketing and a lot of thinking, strategic guidance, always questioning, how can I do this better every single day and every single step that you take. And last year was the first one and it was so great. I was so surprised how many like famous people showed up. Even Q from Joy Luck Club, one of the first Asian movies in Hollywood. She came through. I couldn't even believe it.
That's amazing.
People from
historic event.
Sorry. Go ahead. One more time.
No, I just said historic event.
Yeah. So then I couldn't believe 400 people plus came into a room on a Tuesday night, December 17th last year. Okay. And then we had 2 brand activations. And I just realized from that gala how powerful my network was. I could not believe it. And it kind of was incredible to see that under one rooftop and being in reality TV. I think that really helps me get to know people in the celebrity sphere a lot more. And it kind of builds a trust with them because they're like, oh, you're an Asian that's been on TV too. You get it. I'm going to come to this event. I'm going to support you. And we're going to raise money for a good cause. So, after last year's gala, I was like, okay, now I got to do it again next year, but bigger. We started planning this in February, March of this year. We reached out to so many API brands. We grew from a team who just was like 3-4 people last year at the gala to like 10 to 15 people this year, and making sure that everyone had a duty to like help succeed this gala. And the best way to succeed for our gala is to invite the right key people into the room. So we have a bunch of entrepreneurs from Forbes 30 under 30. We have a lot of people from reality TV stars and other Hollywood movies that I can't mention their name, but that helps with press and media, right? And then cultivating these relationships with our brand sponsors who are API founded or owned or allies, and they're just like in this room of giving. So then we throw in the charity, right? The TEACH AAPI, the raising money for the youth and their education. And it's just, how do you not want to be there? And then and then we have performers. We have a beautiful venue. We have a magician. We have Harry Styles saxophone player playing. Like it's such an incredible feat and production. I don't think I ever do anything small, to be honest. And it just grew into something big. The more attention I paid to the details, the bigger the gala became.
Wow. And how do people get involved? How do they attend? Like, what do you need? Like talk to me about that piece.
Yeah, you can visit the Eventbrite. You can go to our Instagram. It's in our link in bio. You can't miss it. You can use promo code Untamed15 for 15% off. And you can get VIP tickets, GA tickets. If you want to be a volunteer, you can reach out as well and learn the behind the scenes. We do have a lot of amazing volunteers who help every single gala. We have 2 galas a year, April and December/November, around the holidays. And that's how you can get involved. And you can also donate. We are closing kind of donations at this point, but there's so many ways to be involved in the gala. And I'm so overwhelmed with the responses and the help that came to me as this gala started to come into fruition.
That's awesome. Kasey, this has been a lot of fun having you on. I'm glad I could finally get you on the show. I just got to ask, you got the gala coming up. You got a lot going on with your agency. What's next? I mean, what's next for you? What's next for closing out the year?
It's so funny. Every single time the gala is over, it's always at the end of the year. So I'm thinking about new plans.
Vacay? No.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said vacay? No.
Actually, yes. Actually, for the first time in 3 years, I think I'm going to take a vacation after the gala for like a week or something, because this girl has been like non-existent in vacation world for way too many years. But yes, hopefully vacation, but also in 2026. Oh, wow. I can't even believe I'm saying this.
We'll blink. It'll be 2026 for sure.
Oh my God, that's so sad. I feel like I'm getting so old, but I definitely have plans to grow this agency into a community, but maybe potentially a nonprofit organization. So I have a lot of big plans for this. Our team is growing very, very big. And I hope to make even more of an impact than I'm already making, and hope to raise funds for maybe future entrepreneurs as well in the AAPI field.
Amazing. One more time, how can people get involved with the gala? What's the website, all that good stuff? And also Untamed Agency, whether they're influencers, whether they're potential brand partners, how do they reach out?
You can find me on Instagram at Kasey Ma or at Untamed Agency LA. Visit our link in bio, click on the Eventbrite link, look at the gala, and you'll be able to get tickets right there and join us on November 23rd at 6 p.m. on Sunday at the W Hollywood.
Fantastic. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes, so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Kasey, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you.